So a dream of mine was always to write a book that could give some economic ideas for Japan. And so I've finally achieved my dream. Although there will be a second book and maybe a third, but definitely a second book. Probably next year I'll write it. But I'm going to write an English language book in the meantime. But anyway, the reason I wrote it was because I sensed that in Japanese economic policy and in the Japanese economy, there was a gap. And that gap, I thought that gap should be closed. And that gap was greenfield investment. There's almost none in Japan, but it would be a great place for greenfield investment. And, I met with the head of the Economic Development Board of Singapore. Singapore is a very rich country, much richer than Japan or America. Although they're just a small city, but, they still are extremely rich. And so I asked this woman, she's the head of the EDB, head of Economic Development Board in Singapore. How do you do industrial policy? She said, all we do is FDI. That's our only
Wow.
thing. She said, you can't name a Singaporean company except Temasek, but that's just does domestic stuff. They're not a real like high-tech company. You can't name a Singaporean company because Singapore is an extension of the economy of the United States of America. Um, we just invest there and do things there, and then that's how they get rich.
Nice.
But Japan can't be that, and it shouldn't be that. It's too big to be that. But you can add that as one piece. You know, economy should have many pieces, right? You can have domestic investment for export. You can have domestic investment for selling domestically. You can have all kinds of pieces. You can have government. You can have private sector. You can have universities doing research. You can have all of these sectors of the economy, but foreign companies using your country to make things for to export to the rest of the world is an important piece of the economy that Japan doesn't really have. But you'd be so good at it, right? Actually, America does have a good amount of this. US has this, but Japan doesn't have that much of this. And Japan is a great place to make things. You've got great planning. You can build stuff quickly, not as quickly as China, but much more safely
Yeah.
and much more quickly than America or Europe. You can, and for low cost, Japanese costs are